So in the previous lecture, we saw what the style tag is supposed to do. Now, the drawback of this approach is that if you have 10 HTML pages, everywhere you'll have to go and copy paste this stuff or write on every other page. So in order to minimize that and ensuring that you have a better code management, what we'll be doing is we'll be introducing ourselves to cascading style sheet files. In order to create a CSS file, what we need to do is just go inside your application directory, web application, and here we have created a CSS directory. Inside that, I've created a file called site.css, and if you see, it's currently blank. All I need to do now is go to styling.html, and inside the style tag, whatever content was written, I can just take it out, cut it from here, and inside the site.css I can go and paste it. So once that's done, I can remove the style tag from here. Now, once I've removed it, how the styling will take place? So, in order to include the newly created site.css file, we'll be making use of a new tag called link. Now, link has two attributes, rel, which tells what kind of rel it is, like style sheets, and then we'll have the href attribute. Now, href attribute requires the name of the file along with its path. So here the relative path is inside the CSS directory, and then as you can see, site.css, and then you can close this link tag. Now let's save this site.css as well, and once that's done, let's run it in browser, and here you can see the content is coming up exactly as it was coming earlier. If I show you inspect element over here, inside the head tag you will now find a file called css/site.css, and then for every element where we had the styling defined, for header for instance, you'll see the styling coming up over here. So everything is running now, and now the benefit of this is you'll have one line to be included in every other file, and there are frameworks now like .NET and PHP which allows you to create partial HTML pages or partial controls. There you just have to mention it once in such frameworks, and they will be replicated on every other file wherever required. So that saves so much of time, and you don't have to duplicate your code time and again for every single HTML page that you create. Now let's go to the site.css file and explore a couple of other things. Let's say you also want to write code for the footer element. Now here, if I go and say this is what I want to write for footer, so instead of doing it like this, what you can do is just mention footer along with header. So what this signifies is that for every header footer tag, this is the styling that needs to be applied. Now there could be a scenario where you want something additional as well for the footer tag, let's say. So if that is the case, you can have a separate footer tag, and here you can write, for instance, let's say border radius, and you can specify how many pixels. So this border radius basically curves the edges of the borders. So here the common attributes of header and footer will be here, and specific ones related specifically to footer will be mentioned over here. Now if I save this and run it, so here currently you see there's no border at all and nothing is coming up. But if I now reload this page, you'll now find that the same styling has been applied. And if you notice closely, let me zoom in a bit. If you notice closely, the edges of this border has got some smooth edges now. So that's what border radius style does to it. And here you can see that the common styling can be combined together. Like over here we have done it for header and footer, and the specific ones can be included in their own tags. So here if I view the code now, you'll notice that for footer this border radius is coming up, and here header footer, this background color, border and font size all are applied to this tag footer. And for header, just these styling elements are applied, like background color, border and font size. So that is one way of applying styles to our HTML elements. In the next one, we'll also see how we can write CSS classes which can then be applied to any elements, because currently we are just targeting specific HTML elements and then the style is being applied to those elements. The next one we'll see how we can just write a general styling code, and then we can choose where we want to apply it.